It sounds like you are at the very beginning, but you confidently moved into a place where you're developing your own character. You're trying to, and you seem like you're in touch with the evolution of who that is and how that'll go forward.
Yeah, when I first met with Bob Fitch, I remember our big thing was, okay, what's this character that we're going to be portraying on this show? Because Phenomenon specifically was kind of made to be a more dark and mysterious show, and don't get too lighthearted. I mean, you're supposed to be these mysterious mentalists,
Yeah.
and so we were creating a certain character for that. But now I have the freedom, where I'm on tour, and I've got this little tagline, charmed and dangerous. So I can play around with these things. I can play around with these things, and I don't have to be too dark and too dangerous. I can be a little bit of myself as well, which is, kind of the complete opposite. But, yeah, I mean, definitely character development is one of the more fun parts.
And again, I mean, not to harp on it, but I would assume, it was obviously a huge thing for your career. And it would be for anybody who got on television, but specifically for somebody in your position, that not only on Phenomenon were you on TV and forced to develop a character where maybe that was only the bare bones had been laid for that previous, but also you were the highlight. Not only were you the only girl on the show, but you were the lady in red. They were highlighting you in the promos, and
I was the youngest person on that show. I was the least experienced. I was a lot of things. But you know what? I gained so much from it. I will go so far as to say that I gained more than any other person on that show. If you look at where I was and where I've come to be,
Yeah, and I certainly I don't think anybody would argue with you on that. I mean, there was the most to gain from you, and really, I think on the flip side, though, if somebody in your position were to go on there and just really be traumatized and just, be completely eaten alive by the media and LA and TV and realizing that magic on TV is not like performing magic on stage or magic, for a direct audience. And there's a lot that goes into it, let alone the personalities involved and the fact that it was, on a meta level, NBC was just changing leadership, and this was a big thing, for them. And even the fact that it didn't maybe do up to expectations, this could have been, and I'm sure these are thoughts that have gone through your head a million times, so I don't know why I'm highlighting them, but it could have destroyed somebody, I guess, is really my point.
I think reality TV destroys a lot of people. I think it does, but you know what? I was fortunate enough to have a wonderful support system. I had my family, always there on the with me. I mean, that's a difficult thing to be up against. I was 20 years old, and I'm thrown into that situation, and you're a little unsure of yourself going on TV, and you want people to approve of you, and of course nobody's going to, especially when you're performing for 7 million people each week. I mean, you're going to be up against so much criticism, and that's one of the things I knew going into it, and once it hits, it's kind of like, oh my God, that's brutal, but you have to be strong, and you have to look at the good comes with the bad. You have to look at the positive things. I mean, we were so lucky to be out there, and of course, there were magicians probably saying some nasty things, and it's unfortunate because we should be supporting each other in the community as a whole.
Yeah. Well, if we can just kind of linger on that a little bit. Obviously, along with your very, very unique position comes the fact that people want to, and the message boards in particular are places that are really rife for criticism on a lot of levels. How much of that, number one, got to you, either people forwarding you, hey, look what this guy's saying, and B, how was your evolution on that? Did you read it at the beginning and then realized, hey, this is something I don't want to do, or did you read it all throughout?
I didn't read it because, and even when like some of the other guys on Phenomenon were saying, hey, do you want to see what they said about you? No, not in a million years. I don't care. I want to focus on what I'm doing. I have so much on my mind already. I don't care what they're saying. I mean, I'm just so blessed to be in the position that I'm in. I don't need any negative energy interfering with
Yeah.
everything I've got to do right now. And I think my parents might have been hurt by some of it, which was so unfortunate. That's what got to
So
me.
so it got to them. They read it, or people forwarded it to them, or
I think a lot of my family was offended by how insensitive people can be, but and I told them, you don't have to worry about that. I mean, that's just the way it is. I'm so lucky to be in the position I'm in. My family, though, they were the most supportive. I mean, even when I was on the show, and those weeks were some of the most stressful times. I remember my family just always being there for me. And when I was starting to doubt myself, I could call up my mom or I could call up my dad, and they would get me back in the game. Don't doubt yourself, Angela.
yeah.
So, I mean, like I said, I have this wonderful support system, and I have wonderful people who believe in me, and I'm so lucky to have, and we got through it all together. So.
Indeed. All right. Well, let's get back to the set questions here. Who is your favorite performer who is not like you at all?
Oh God.
Completely on the opposite end of the spectrum.
I would have to say I'm a big fan of Pete Furman.
There we go.
I don't grind mice up,
Yeah.
I don't put little creatures in my mouth. I don't do that stuff. But he's a wonderful performer. He's fantastic, and he's so fun to be around. He's hilarious.
Yeah.
I'm a fan.
So have you gotten a chance to hang out with him, or?
Yeah, we actually we had breakfast. My friend Mike and we took PD over to IHOP, and
Nice. So this is while he was here in the States.
Yeah, he was here in the States, and I remember Mike was pouring syrup all over his, I guess it was sausage or something, and he was eating that, and Pete's just saying, "Mike, you got to stop mixing sweet and savory. It's disgusting." So I will always remember that.
There we go. Wise words now passed on to the entirety of the iTricks audience. Don't mix sweet and savory.
Yeah.